Hey everyone, darshanmaharaja here. Last week I posted a video of my question to CPC Leader Pierre Poilievre about the Bank Act. What seemed to be a very serious issue to me, thankfully it is not so. I will explain in this video. Specifically, I was talking about Section 21, subsection 1 of the Bank Act, which says that banks, that means Canadian banks, will stop doing business, and foreign banks that are authorized to operate in Canada shall cease to do business in Canada on or after June 30th, 2025. Now, this was when I saw it first. I didn't have the context, and reading it by itself, this seemed like something shocking. But thanks to friends on Twitter, now known as X, I have been able to find out the context for this. Basically, it is meant to ensure that the government conducts a regular review of the functioning of the financial system. Now, on a separate note, this is a weird way to say that the government must carry out and complete a review of any industry for that matter, not just banking. But it's definitely a weird way to word that, saying that the entire industry shall cease to exist in the country. But this has been there since 1991 when the Bank Act was first passed. And every time there is a 5 year term given for from the exact wording is, let me read it out. It says, after the fifth anniversary of the day on which the Budget Implementation Act of the particular year receives royal assent. So that is the date on which the law becomes effective, and then the government has 5 years to complete its next review of the financial industry. And then the thing gets renewed again for 5 years. So it is basically to enable a review of the financial sector. Although, as I said, the wording is quite weird from my point of view. If I were to do it, I would word it very differently, but that's not likely to fly in political circles. Because I would say that if the review is not completed by the end of 5 years from this act receiving royal assent, then the finance minister shall resign their position and shall be ineligible for any cabinet position for the rest of their lives. That is how you dangle a Damoclean sword. That's the term I used when I asked Pierre Poilievre. But that's how you dangle a Damoclean sword over the right party rather than on the industry. But it has worked so far. So I think the banking industry or the financial industry is also not too bothered about this wording. So who am I to say anything? But the thing to note here is, when I read this for the first time and didn't have the context, all sorts of serious questions came to my mind, like 30th June 2025. So is this why the NDP or Jagmeet Singh has made a deal with Justin Trudeau to keep him in power so he can shut down the banking industry? Or is this why Andrew Scheer basically lost an election that he, by all accounts, should have won? In fact, former law minister, justice minister Peter MacKay said that he lost. It was like failing to score on an open net. So again, Peter MacKay had been a justice minister. So how come he didn't see it? And all sorts of questions. But the thing about open and free communication is that it clears up any misinformation, disinformation, misunderstanding, and simply not knowing. I mean, I was ignorant of all this when I posed the question, and I thought I was bringing up some explosive issue to the table, but it turned out to be something rather routine, nothing to get worried about. So that is one major aspect of this whole exercise that I have been on since the last 3 4 days. And the another notable thing is that the previous version of this requirement, Section 21, subsection 1 of the Bank Act, uh, as per the tradition, it stipulated a 5-year period. So it said after the 5th anniversary of the day on which the Budget Implementation Act 2018, number 1, receives royal assent. So this gave it the term, if you can use that word here, from 21st June 2018, when the budget of that year got royal assent. From 21st June 2018 to 21st June 2023. However, when I go to the government website, uh, under the current version, it has a link for the previous version. And that previous version, when you click on that link, it says 21st June 2018 to 28th June 2023. So it's 1 week more than 5 years. I don't know why I haven't been able to find that out. But then the question arises as to why this got uh, further extended as per tradition. It got further extended not by 5 years, but by 2 years and change, 2 years and 2 days to be precise. Now, uh, Twitter friend of mine, I don't want to say ex-friend of mine because we are still friends. Uh, uh, he, he or she, I think it is she, uh, said that this ties in rather neatly with the NDP's supply and confidence agreement, which also has an end date of when Parliament rises in June 2025. So, first of all, why the extension for 2 years instead of the usual 5 years? And secondly, the nagging question as to what kind of a coincidence this is that the two things are having an expiry date or end date, um, basically coinciding. So that is something nagging. I would say that this is like a speck of dust that falls in your eye. It keeps irritating you, but you don't lose your vision. So that is the kind of situation we have here. But I had asked CPC leader Pierre Poilievre to find out about this, and he or his other two MPs didn't know what this was, and a lot of people commented on my video saying that he's supposed to know. I'm willing to cut him some slack here. We don't know everything. Nobody knows everything, and this being such a routine matter, it wouldn't have been flagged by their staff as something to focus on. So it didn't come on their radar. It was something routine. They just voted for the bill the way they wanted to without making a hue and cry about this, because this isn't something to make a hue and cry about. So I'm happy that my apprehension has been resolved in a pleasant way. I had told Mr. Poilievre that either way it needs to be cleared up in the public, and he is busy, but in the meantime I have dug into this, so I'm happy. I don't want my doubts to be confirmed necessarily. My desire is to get the actual information, and if it disproves my doubts or removes my doubts completely, then I'm equally happy as long as I have the factual information and a proper understanding of the question that arose in my mind. So I hope this answers your questions. I thought I should let you know what I have found. I had meant to put out this video on Sunday, but then other things intervened, and yesterday I devoted my whole day to writing an article. So today is the day when I thought I should not delay this any further. I hope this clears up your doubts as well. It's not like Trudeau is secretly planning to shut down banking sector altogether in Canada. This is something routine, but with that speck in the eye as to why this is only for 2 years, and why the end dates of the two things, namely this provision in the law and NDP's supply and confidence agreement with the Liberals, the end dates coinciding. Those are the two issues that I think we need to dig into. But I don't think it's going to amount to a big thing in the broader scheme of things. So thank you for listening, and I'll be back. I put out one video every week usually, so hopefully by the end of this week I'll be back with another video for you. Until then, take care and goodbye.